Hi everyone, I'm Anita. Welcome back to my channel. You can see that the background is different. That's because I moved to a new place. I was actually thinking whether I should get a bookshelf and organize my books there, but with the amount of books that I have, I think this looks okay. I mean, it's not 100% organized as of yet, but I mean, it's not too bad, I think. If you guys have any suggestions on how to arrange my books in here, then just let me know, okay? In the comments down below, please. As you guys already know, this is a mid-year book tag video. I have been seeing these videos floating around BookTube for a while, and well, even though it's past mid-year, I mean, it's mid-July now, but I mean, I still wanted to do it because it seems so fun. So if you don't know what it is, basically it's a bunch of questions that I've seen other bookstagrammers or booktubers do. Like, you know, what's your favorite book of the year so far? Or who's your favorite character? What is the worst book that you've read? You know, things like that. And I thought that it would be nice to look back at whatever I've read, and my goal initially for this year was 50 books. I mean, I try not to be too goal oriented because it puts pressure in yourself in a way, and I don't want to take reading as a chore. However, I did somehow accomplish to read 40 books so far, which is, I think, pretty cool. So yeah, I think it would be fun to do it. So without further ado, let's go right into it. I'm a Potterhead and my house is Gryffindor. Yay. I'm proud, okay? And I have written my questions in here. I am old school like that. I like to write stuff, you know? So yeah, I'll be going through the questions from here and I'll answer like that, and I'll also show the books which I have the physical copies for, you know, to you guys from here. I just wanted to say I got the questions from all the other booktubers videos and they seem to have similar questions, to be honest. However, I did ask a couple of days back on my story on Bookstagram. Basically, I asked my followers that if you guys have any questions, please let me know. So some of you did ask questions, so I added those questions in here as well. Yeah. So the first question is, what is the best book you have read so far in 2024? So among the 40 books that I've read, it seems like I've given 5 stars to, wait, how many? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books? Not too bad. However, there are 3 books that, I mean, I think 5 stars is not enough. And those books are... Okay, no, while I was going through the list, it's 4, it's not 3. The first one is Divine Rivals. Yeah, by Rebecca Ross. Definitely one of the best books I've read, not just this year, but in my life. It's amazing. I love this so much. The author literally used magic while writing this book. I'm not kidding. It follows these 2 characters who work in this newspaper company, and they're basically fighting for a position in that company. Oh, please note that there is a war going on as well, and there are gods involved. And they are rivals, by the way. I mean, as the name suggests. So they're in a circumstances where she gets called away for this war reporting thing. However, he does something. I'm not gonna say what because it might be a spoiler and I think it's best to go in blind. However, I would say this, that you know, the love that you read about and you think like, oh my god, they're just meant to be. So these 2 characters are like that. Okay, it's just, yeah. My second favorite book of the year so far is Akor, A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. This is book 3 of ACOTAR series, A Court of Thorns and Roses. Although I love book 2, Mist and Fury, yeah, the best. However, this book was really good to me as well. Like, I loved it. It's basically more of a war sequence in the series. However, it's so much more than that as well. So definitely, yeah. Another book that I've read recently and it changed my life, sort of. And that's Beach Read by Emily Henry. If you know me, if you follow me on Bookstagram, you know that I can't stop talking about this book. I love this book so much. It's about 2 writers who basically swap genres and they write books that they are not comfortable in. Let me tell you, those 2 writers were rivals sort of as well, or at least the girl thinks they are. And god, the character, especially the guy, Gus, I love this man so much, and I just relate to him a lot as well on a personal level. Not just Gus, January too, however Gus much more. It's I don't know, I have read 3 Emily Henry books so far, and this is my favorite. Yeah. And the 4th book that I was talking about, that's a dark romance. It's basically a duology, but I'm gonna talk about the 1st book, which is Born Darkly by Trisha Wolfe. I don't have the physical copy, unfortunately, however, I will get it. And that's a dark romance. It's about a serial killer who's in prison and his psychologist, who's Dr. Noble, this really hot girl. Oh, to be Dr. Noble. Insane. Like, the psychological aspect of that book, psh, I love it. And the guy, Grayson Sullivan, who's the, serial killer, I'm obsessed. So yeah, these 4 are my most favorite book of the year. Yeah. Now, regarding the next question, what is the best sequel you have read so far in 2024? Well, I've actually mentioned it already. It's this book, A Coat of Wings and Ruin, sequel that I really, really liked a lot. Yeah. However, I will mention another book, and that's, oh god, I'm too lazy to get it, but yeah. So it's Thrive by Krista and Becca Ritchie. So this is a book of Addicted series. I believe it's the 4th book? Yeah, I think so. Anyways, no? I don't know. This follows 6 characters basically. I know many people say that this is about Lily and Lauren, who are one of the main protagonists among the 6 of them. However, while I read it, I felt like, no, it's about all of them. It's amazing. I can't really talk about this book because, as you can tell, it's literally in the middle of the series, and if I say stuffs, I mean, it can be spoilerish. It's an amazing series, Addicted series, and I highly recommend it. It's basically a slice of life. Really, really good. So I really enjoyed reading this. Now for the 3rd question, we have the biggest disappointments. Ugh. Remember how I said that Divine Rivals was one of the best books that I've read this year? Unfortunately, the 2nd book in the duology, called Ruthless Vows, you see how beautiful the cover is? I can't say the same thing about the content. I don't know, I did not like this book. It was very, very disappointing, especially after how phenomenal book 1 was. Obviously my expectation was sky high regarding this book, but it dragged and dragged and dragged. Nothing really happened in terms of plot. Whatever was happening was pretty obvious, predictable, and very underwhelming. I just kept on reading for the sake of reading it, and I buddy read with my friend Isha, who's also a huge Divine Rival enthusiast. However, we both were humbled. I'm sorry to say this, even though these 2 characters, they mean the whole world to me, but unfortunately this book wasn't it. Another disappointment was Leather and Lark. I don't have the physical copy. It's a dark romance, so it's book 2 in a trilogy. I forgot what the series is called, sorry. So that's a serial killer / contract serial killer romance, and we were introduced the characters in book 1, and obviously when I read about the main characters in book 1, like, the main characters from this book, I thought that, wow, it's gonna slap. It did not. I mean, it wasn't bad. I think I gave it 3 or 3.5, which isn't a bad rating. It's a really good rating actually. However, no, I expected more. Sorry. Another disappointment. Oh my god, that was... No, this book was not it. This is, I think, the 2nd last book of the Shatter Me series. Or was it the last book? I don't even remember. Whatever. It was so... Yeah, we all love Aaron Warner. Like, if you have been reading books and if you follow Bookstagram or BookTok recommendation, you would know about Aaron Warner. He basically is the leader of the MMCs, okay? And he's amazing. Don't get me wrong, he's amazing. But the plot in this book was so stupid. So stupid. The FMC Juliet literally falls for Aaron's father. I mean, yes, I understand she probably had her memory wiped off. She did, but it was just so stupid. Not just that context, but I don't know, the writing and everything else, it was just very, very disappointing. So, nah. No. I don't even feel bad talking bad about this book. You know, I give it 1 star. Deserves less. Okay, moving on to the next one. A book you'll recommend if you hate someone. I have read this book. It's called Pump 2. I did not really expect much from the book, to be honest, but I thought that, you know, it's gonna be a good light vibe read. Basically, it follows a girl who works as a cashier in a gas station, yeah, and this guy who wears the helmet and owns a bike, obviously, and just comes, like literally comes. Yeah, they do it. That's it. For the first 80% of the book, he has the helmet on because that's their thing. I mean, that's literally it. I mean, I understand if you just want to read smut for the sake of reading smut, but even I read smut for the sake of reading smut sometimes, but no. Actually, no, the writing was trash as well. I'm sorry. I don't really have an enemy, but I would definitely recommend this one if I want to torture you. But if you like this book, good for you then. Yeah. Moving on to the next question. Biggest surprise. When it comes to this question, it can go both ways. It can be a good surprise and a bad surprise. So I'll start with the good one, okay? So the good surprise, definitely, oh god, Emily McIntyre's Never After series. So I have read Scarred and Wretched, which is book 2 and 3 of the series. I have heard mixed reviews of book 1, so I haven't touched it. However, you know what? Book 2 and book 3 were so good, I actually might give book 1 a shot. I've never read anything by Emily McIntyre before, and why haven't I? Because these books were so good. These are dark romances. It's basically fairy tale retelling. The second book was Lion King retelling, and the third was Wizard of Oz, as far as I remember. If you like dark romance, do yourself a favor, read these books, okay? I devoured these books. So pleasantly surprised by this series, and I love Emily. Seriously, her writing. Another really good surprise was one of my 5 stars read, actually, and this is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. This year, by the way, was also the year I started reading Emily Henry for the first time, and this was my first Emily Henry book. Love this. This follows Nora, this amazing, gosh, I love Nora. This girl who is, well, you can consider her as icy or whatever, but she's just career oriented and takes no shit. How is that being icy? Well, you could call that icy. Well, I'm icy. And Charlie Lastra. This man is hot as hell. Very career-oriented guy. I forgot what his job was. I think he was a publicist, or was he an editor? And so was Nora, I guess. I literally forgot what their jobs were. They were, again, enemies or rivals, as you can say. However, they go to this small town, well, for a vacation and whatnot. They don't know that they are in the same town at the same time, but obviously they have that sweet encounter and things happen. Emily Henry stan now. Like, literally, this book, I initially gave it 4.5 because the ending, I wasn't too sure whether I liked it. However, I can't stop thinking about this book, so definitely 5 stars. Okay, now regarding the not so good surprises. These aren't bad books, okay? Let me just say this. It's just that I expected more from these books. So I have 2 in here. One is Fairytale by Veronica Lancet. I don't have the physical copy, and well, I won't be buying it because it was underwhelming for me. Why? Because it's so unnecessarily long. It follows mated lovers, multiple timelines, sort of gothic vibe. I mean, the characters are amazing. Sella, the girl, she's very confused because everything around her is like one thing after another thing is happening, to be honest. Like, she's going to a new town, suddenly she finds out that she has a dad, she goes to that town to get her inheritance. However, people are creepy as hell. Out of nowhere, her dad comes back to life and dies immediately again, and what? I mean, so many absurd things happen. However, there's this guy who's very helpful to her, and there's this cat as well who's called Mr. Meow. I mean, it's a cute cat, but is it a normal cat? Anyways, I'm not gonna say anything. If you want to read about it, go ahead. But I think it's a personal problem as well that I'm not really good with long books. I mean, yes, I will like it. For example, I have read A Court of Wings and Ruin, and that's a pretty long book. However, in every chapter, amazing things were happening, and every chapter ended with a whiplash, literally, okay, like a huge cliffhanger, and it kept me going. However, in this book, nothing really happened. happen until I reached 80%. And 80% in a book, which is what? I forgot, 800 pages long, is a lot. Yeah. So I did not really like it. Another thing that I didn't like is that I understand the concept of fated lovers. However, what is this werewolf imprinting thing going on that you just see someone and you go like, bang, I love you, you're mine. No, I mean, I need some sort of connection. I understand the MMC loves the girl a lot and he's faithful as hell. We appreciate, we love, but you have to tell me why so that I can feel what you're feeling. It took me 2 weeks to read this book because, I don't know, I just didn't like it. I think I gave it 2.75. If this book was 300 pages shorter, could have easily be a 4 stars for me. Anyways, moving on to the second book, which was not a good surprise. That is, it hurts me to say this, Caught Up by Lise Tomford. Third book of the Windy City series. It follows Kai, who is an amazing baseball player, and Miller, who was Miller? Oh, Kai's coach's daughter. Yeah. She's a chef, a pastry chef. However, due to some circumstances, she had to become Kai's son's nanny. Oh god, Kai's son, Max, he's the main character of this book. Let me just say that. He's, I think, 2 years old or 1.5. Oh. My ovaries were on fire because of him, okay? Like, he's the cutest little munchkin ever. So why, unfortunately, I'm saying that this was not a good surprise. I don't know, everybody seemed to love this book so much. It's like their 5 stars, 6 stars, 7 stars book. I think I gave it 3 or 3.5, I don't remember. I don't know, unfortunately, it was underwhelming because one, I couldn't really connect to the FMC, Miller. I did not like her justification of why she's doing what she's doing in terms of her career, or why she's choosing to stay away where she clearly wants to help her people. I couldn't really connect to her. Another thing is that Miller used a lot of sexual jokes, okay? Which is fine, which is funny, I think in moderation. She did it throughout the whole book. And I was not impressed. At one point, I was just rolling my eyes. I'm like, girl, shut up. You're like, what, 23, 24? Enough. We get it. Like, if you were a teenager, maybe I would have understood. But yeah, I think it's a personal thing. I didn't really like that. And Kai is amazing. He's an amazing father. Hot as hell. The smut in here, really good. But I think I'm just biased towards the MMC in the second book, Ryan Shea from Right Move. I just kept on comparing Kai with Ryan and I'm like, oh god, I love Ryan more. Even though, definitely recommend this book, but personally, it did not live up to the hype. Yeah. Okay, what else do we have? Newest fictional crush. So I have to talk about 3 guys in here. One, as I've already said, from Beach Read, Gus Everett. From the very first explanation about Gus's appearance, physical and just, you know, how his mind works, I was so drawn to him. How he looks at people. Like, you know, you're just randomly talking and Gus will just look at you. Like, he's gonna frown a little. His eyes will darken, but not in a horny way. Like, even though, you know, the FMC tells her that you're coldly horny, Gus. But no, he just gives so much attention to everything around him. I don't know, I just find him incredibly hot, so intelligent, and so intimidating. Gus. My second crush was Charlie Lastra from Book Lovers. He's this guy who's so sophisticated, so into his job, knows what he's doing, so confident. He literally has like 5-6 pairs of clothes, but those are like so high-end, a minimalist, but so perfect. And the stuffs he says, like his brain, his sarcasm, I was cackling while I was reading Book Lovers. Like, how can Emily Henry be so smart? I loved Charlie. He's it. And among all the dark romance books that I have read, it's Grayson Sullivan. I actually made a TikTok where I said that he can step on me. He's a serial killer, but he's so intelligent, so scary. Like, you don't know what he's gonna do the next second. He can either kiss you or kill you. Let me tell you, there is a scene where his POV goes like, oh, she tried to kill me, and he's smiling while thinking that. Okay? Sold. I'm sold. So these are the 3 fictional crush of mine. I'm obsessed with them and I'm literally ready to marry them all. I don't care. Moving on to the next question. Favorite new author? This year I have read Emily Henry and Emily McIntyre for the first time, and I'm obsessed with their work. Emily McIntyre, she writes amazing dark romances, slow burns. Yeah, the tension between the characters, and the plot. Can I just say the plot? I remember when I was reading the third book of the Never After series, Wretched. Oh god, I was literally thinking that this could be an amazing movie adaptation. The plot was so good. It was insane. An undercover police officer trying to find out who the drug dealer leading person is. It's our main female character who he just had a one-night stand with the previous day. Yeah. Amazing. And Emily Henry, oh god, her books, they hit like seriously, at a personal level, I have somehow or the other related to all the characters, not just the main characters, like even the side characters. She just knows how to write. You can't really forget an Emily Henry book, I would say. I have read only 3 out of 5, and I do plan to read the next 2 very soon. The characters are amazing. The plot is so good. Like, they hit home. So definitely. Another new author that I've read that I want to read more of, it's definitely Trisha Wolfe, the author of Darkly Madly Duology. She's also a dark romance author, but she just doesn't write romance and dark plot. You know what I mean? It's more of a psychological thing. At least that's what I've heard. So I do plan to read more of her work. Yeah. So the next question is books that made me cry. Looks like I have cried while reading 5 books out of the 40 that I have read this year so far. And the 5 are Divine Rivals, Beach Read, and A Court of Wings and Ruin. I was a mess during Divine Rivals, okay? I remember sending my crying video to 2 of my friends. One is Isha. She saw my video and she was like, oh my god, you're making me cry now. Like, she was all comforting and everything. And I sent it to Ankita, this other friend of mine. She was laughing. She was like, oh my god, look at you. So yeah, my friends. If you have read Beach Read, you know that there is this chapters where the female main character, January, she reads letters from her father. It was about parental love. I was missing my parents so much while reading that book. Yeah. I'm not gonna say anything more. It's yeah. The unconditional love that only parents can give their children. Yeah. Anyways, another 2 books in which I have cried are Crooked Kingdom by Lee Bardugo. Someone dies, okay? I'm not gonna say who, because if you haven't read it, it's a spoiler. If you don't know already, this is book 2 of Six of Crows duology. I love the first book with all my heart. This book, although I would say was not as good as the first one, however, was really good, but there was an unnecessary death. I don't know why the author thought that killing off this character, who was one of my favorite characters, was a good idea. Well, I cried a lot. And the last book in which I have cried was Forever Interrupted by Taylor Jenkins Reid. If you read this book and you haven't cried, you're strong. This girl gets married to this guy who she has been dating for, I think 6-7 months, whatever. They're very much in love, and 9 days after their marriage, he is hit by a truck and dies on impact. And it's basically how the FMC Elsie, she struggles and copes with grief. It takes you to the various stages of grief. And again, it hit home. It hit on a very personal level. I was a crying mess. Ugh. Yeah, these are the 5 books in which I have cried a lot. Now on to our next question. Books that made you happy. Well, I read a lot of contemporary romances, which make me happy, but I would like to talk about 2 books which made me a bit more happy compared to the other ones. Book 1 is The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. This is actually a book that I have just finished reading yesterday. I loved it so much. I actually don't remember laughing the way I laughed while reading this book. Yeah, it's a marriage of convenience. The guy is filthy rich, okay, and the girl, she has to pretend to be his wife in front of his parents. There's this wedding situation going on, like the guy's sister is getting married on this island and they have to go there, as I said, pretend in front of everybody that they're married, and obviously they have to stay in a resort together, 1 bed trope, forced proximity. It's so good. And the girl, she cracks jokes which is gonna bound to make you laugh hysterically. Like, even our MMC, he couldn't, like, he seemed like a serious person, like not a grumpy, but like a normal serious person. Even he couldn't keep his shit together because of the way she used to say. It's amazing. It's so good. I highly recommend. It's a 5-star read for me, by the way. It's amazing. I love this book with my whole heart. Read it, okay? And the second book, The Happy Ever After Playlist by Abby Jimenez. It's about a girl who basically gets attacked by this dog, okay? Attacked meaning in a nice way, okay? Like, the dog randomly just jumps in her car and she's like, what the hell? I have to take care of it now. And she tries to call the owner, but the owner wasn't picking up because, well, he was out of the country, yeah, but then he wanted his dog back and they had to meet. By the way, the owner, our MMC, he's a rock star. And they meet each other and they're very attracted. However, you know, it's not those corny love at first sight. It's very normal and it flows really nicely. The girl, she just lost her fiance, like, I think 2 years back or something. So you have that element of grief going on as well. I don't know, it's just so good. I really recommend this book as well. Please read it. Do yourself a favor. Both of these books, amazing. They'll definitely make you happy. Read them. Read them. Okay, moving on to our next question. What books you want to reread this year? I have talked about this in my last video, my book haul unboxing video. That's the Darkverse series. It's right there. It's pretty heavy. I don't feel like taking it. You guys know what the Darkverse is. It's a dark mafia romance by Runix, and I have read it 2 years back and I plan to reread it, hopefully starting tonight. So that's definitely books that I want to reread. And another book that I really want to reread, this is one of my most favorite books of all time. It's Kill Switch by Penelope Douglas. It's a part of a series called the Devil's Night series. It's the third book. This is dark, okay? And it has some tropes which many people probably won't like sharing. If you know, you know. However, why I like it so much? Because of the main male character. He was bad and creepy and scary and just wrong in the first 2 books, okay? Like, he was a red flag. Yeah, I mean, forget about morally gray. He was black. But this is basically his redemption arc, and you find out why he is the way he is. And I just fell in love with him so deeply. I know many people don't like Damon Torrance, the guy that I'm talking about. I don't care what you think. Like, literally, I don't give a damn. He is one of my most favorite characters in the whole wide world, and I will defend him till the day I die. So yeah, I do plan to reread Kill Switch and fall in love again with Damon. And another book series that I want to reread, that's by Rena Kent, and it's Deception Trilogy. Why I'm so intrigued in rereading that trilogy is because the MMC there, Adrian Volkov, he's not my favorite, okay? Even though the books, when I've read it a year back, I was hooked. And goes without saying, it's one of the best works by Rena Kent. Dark romance, Russian mafia. I talk more about Adrian in my Rena Kent tier ranking video, so you can check that out. So as I said, it's a trilogy. It has 3 books. I love book 1. Book 2 is where the MMC becomes, I would say, abusive towards the FMC. And after that, I don't remember anything from book 3. Like, I started hating that guy so much that I literally probably trauma blocked him or hate blocked him, whatever. I'm like, yeah, screw you. I understand that he has a huge fan following. I don't understand why people love him. Well, obviously because he's hot. I understand liking a character just because he's hot, but at the same time, I don't. I would like to reread it because, as I said, the plot is really good. It has amnesia trope, lots of plot twists and everything, which I already know now, but still, I want to see whether rereading them in the mindset that I am in right now, which definitely has changed, you know, compared to what I had in the past year, whether this would impact me in any way, whether I would understand this character and maybe like him. I doubt it, but let's see. Like, I'm intrigued. So that's another trilogy that I really want to reread this year. So our next question is favorite author so far this year. I have talked about new favorite authors, but if I have to say just one author that I really like, that I think it's Christina Lauren. Maybe because I just finished reading The Paradise Problem and I loved it so much. She just writes the way I really like. I have read her books before. One of her books, Love in Other Words, is one of my favorite books of all time. She's one of my favorite authors, so yay. So the next question is, book you enjoyed with mixed reviews. So for this one, I think I have Bride by Ali Hazelwood. I do think that this book has mixed reviews. Some people loved it, some people hated it. I, as the question asked, enjoyed it. I didn't hate it, nor did I love it. If you know, Ali Hazelwood basically writes STEM romances, but this was different in terms of her usual work. It follows a vampire and a werewolf marriage of convenience romance. It was very cheesy and corny. I remember being on a slump, I don't know after what book, but I was at a phase where I was struggling to read, okay? I started reading this and I was also listening to the audiobook. It was so fun. I remember reading probably 40% just overnight, and that's a lot for me being a slow reader. And I also had work the day after, so yeah, it was fun. I have to admit that. But I also understand this is not the type of book that I generally love or enjoy maybe. I would probably judge this book like if I was thinking rationally, but I'm not. I'm like, wow, this is just fun. I'll just vibe with it. The only thing that I did not like here is the lack of main characters description or just appearances. You know, he wasn't really mentioned much in this book, unfortunately. But yeah, it was a fun read, definitely. Okay, what's our next question? Series you want to finish before the end of the year. Oh god. I have commitment issues when it comes to the series that I'm reading, okay? Like, I'll just stop in the middle of it and forget about them for months. Yeah. However, I definitely aim to finish the Addicted series. I started it last year and I'm still halfway through. I really want to finish this series before the end of the year. And I know that I love it, okay? I mean, there isn't a single book in the series that I've read so far that I have rated less than 4 stars. So definitely I'm loving it. So I don't know why I'm being such a pain to myself and not finishing it. So this series definitely, and 2 series which I haven't started yet, but I plan to finish them. Very ambitious of me, but yeah. One is the Mind series. I know, I'm one of those people who still hasn't read this series. Sue me. But I really want to start it, and apparently it's so good and addictive that once I start, I won't be able to put it down. The Mind series, I believe it's about a serial girl with an FBI guy, and these two are dating, but the guy doesn't know that she's the serial killer. And the girl is not a bad serial killer. She basically takes revenge on people who have wronged her in the past. That's all I know. Seems really strong, like plot-wise. So I'm really excited to read it. Another series that I want to read that's the Magnolia Park series. Okay, so I understand that 5 books are out. I am so intrigued by this series. I can't tell you guys enough. I know that I might hate it, but at the same time I feel like I will not. Maybe I will hate the characters' actions rather than the characters themselves. Yeah, I don't know, to be honest, much about this series. It's apparently like a Gossip Girl retelling of some sort, god knows. I don't know, I'm just so intrigued. I really want to read it. I just have to find the time somehow. These are the 3 series that I really want to finish this year. 2 I gotta start first. Okay, moving on to the next question. Any new goals for the rest of the year? If we talk about Goodreads goal number, well, I did initially plan to read 50 books this year, and I think I'll reach that pretty soon because I have already read 40. After that, to be honest, I don't want to pressurize myself. After 50, I'll just go with the flow. So next we have the most beautiful book you have bought. I am biased with all my books. All of my books are pretty. No, I'm not gonna choose one. Nope. For our next question, we have a character you hate. I know exactly which character this is. So I've read this book. It's called Bitter Heat. I don't remember the name of the author. It was horrible. It was horrendous. And the character is the main male character. He's called James Ross. He was obnoxious. I hate him. with my whole heart. He's so bad. He's so disrespectful. He says such horrible things to the female main character. He basically just manipulates her, lies to her, calls her names, makes her feel like crap. Like, no, you. So apparently this is a 4-book series, but after reading book 1, I'm like, no way, I'm not reading this series anymore. I'm actually surprised at myself that I even finished this book, like, you know, the first book. Like, I didn't DNF it. Yeah. So yeah, definitely James Roth. Ew. Moving on, the spiciest book that I have read. Dear God. What on earth? So this is Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood, her latest release, which I have just read last month. So the characters, they meet each other in the first chapter because, well, they just want to get laid, okay? That's the purpose of their meeting. And damn, like, they're very attracted to each other. I understand that's why you guys are meeting and it's good that you're attracted. However, the smut here is so descriptive. I don't know how to say it. It's just while I was reading it, it just didn't feel like just reading. I was feeling like I was seeing their intimate moments and I'm like, no, that's too much. Some scenes were borderline cringe, actually. It was too much for me. I think it's a personal preference. I mean, I have read descriptive smuts before in dark romances, also in soft romances maybe, but this was weird. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe because there was lack of emotion. They just did what they did for, yeah, the sake of doing it. And I was like, get a room. I started liking the spice after the characters started feeling for each other, you know? Because that seemed more natural. Before that, it was like TMI. So definitely this is the spiciest book I have read. Now we have a book that you regret reading. I have read my share of questionable books, okay? But this book, gosh, I regret reading it so bad. Night Shift by Annie Crown. Well, apparently it's a Wattpad book and, well, it got published. Man, I thought the cover was cute, that's why I bought it. Do I regret buying it? And then do I regret reading it? It's so stupid. This girl basically works at night at library, yeah, in her college or school or whatever. She reads smut and she just wants to get laid by a hot guy in school, preferably a sports guy. And well, this guy, who's a basketball player, goes to the library one night to get a book for his homework or whatever, and she's there. They have the spark, and yeah, it's so cliche, it's so stupid. Like, I understand reading cliche books, but cringe. Do not recommend. It's so bad. I actually want to get rid of that book. It's such a waste of space. Now for the next question. Books you were not able to put down. Okay, so obviously the 5 stars read, but while I was thinking of answering this question, I thought of 3 books. And those were, you know, the books that I've mentioned already, Scarred and Wretched by Emily McIntyre. I was not able to put those books down. Like, even at night, I knew I had to sleep, but I was like, hell no, I need to read this. Like, the plot was so good, I had to continue. Those 2 definitely. And another book, which I gave 1 star to, however, it was so bad and so trashy that I just wanted to know more. I know, very controversial, but it is what it is, okay? So that's The Fucking Wrong Number. Obviously, thank God I don't have the physical copy. So this is a book in which our guy, who's, I think, a basketball player or a football player or a hockey player, I think hockey, yeah, he mistakenly texts our FMC. They start talking while texting, and then they realize that, okay, it's a wrong number, and God knows why the girl sends her a selfie with the middle finger on to the guy, and he gets obsessed. He sees that picture and he's like, that's it, I gotta have this girl, I gotta marry her, she's mine. She's mine. And he's filthy rich, by the way, so obviously he tracks down the girl with his abilities. And he sees her from far and he gets more obsessed. And you know what our obsessive man does? Right after seeing her, not even talking to her up front, by the way, just seeing her from far, he goes to a tattoo parlor and gets her name tattooed. Guess where? Yeah. So see, how could I stop reading it? I had to know how awful this book will be further down the line. And I was having a really good time actually, because I was laughing so much at how absurd and stupid this book was. So yeah, definitely this book. Anyways, for our next question, we have a book that you think about every day. I have already mentioned this book and what it means to me, and that's Beach Read by Emily Henry. I do think that I spend at least a minute thinking about Gus Everett every day. Yeah. The second last question that we have here is a book that made you believe in love again. That's Redeemed by Lauren Asher. This is the fourth book of the Dirty Air series, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Is the F1 sports romance series. I don't know why I have read this book so late, even though all of my friends kept telling me that read this book, it's literally the best in the series. I couldn't agree more. This follows Santiago, our guy who is an amazing F1 racer. However, in the prologue itself, so it's not a spoiler, he has an accident while racing, after which he had to undergo an operation where he had to have a below-knee amputation in one of his legs. So, you know, it has the disability trope. And it's how him being such a confident, amazing guy turning into this very self-conscious, surrounded by grief all the time, and very insecure, obviously, given his circumstances. However, there's this girl, Chloe, who is from America, who has to go to Italy to find her father. She somehow stumbles upon Santiago. They have this really cute encounter. This is basically how Chloe appreciates Santiago, even given his disability and his insecurities. This book will humble you in many ways, and as the question asks, this book did make me believe in love again. It's amazing. Read it if you haven't already. Don't be like me. So the last question of this video is a character you wanted more of. Well, I have two characters to talk about. One is Charlie Lastra from Book Lovers. Yeah, my sweet, hot, amazing, sophisticated Charlie. I wish we had more of him. He was plenty in this book, don't get me wrong. I just needed more. Yeah. I just like him so much. I just needed more. I feel like if I had more of Charlie, or maybe Charlie's POV, then he would be at the same level as Gus. I have no idea, but I wish I had more of him. Yeah. And as I have mentioned before already, the guy from Bride, I forgot his name. Think is low. Anyways, I think he wasn't here in the book. He definitely needed to be more. There is this side character in this book who was the main character's Misery's friend. Her name was Selena. I feel like Selena was mentioned more time than our guy was mentioned. And I think that's a pity. Because at the end of the day, this is a romance between the two main characters. So I wish our alpha werewolf, he was mentioned more. So yeah. Anyways guys, this is the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I had a lot of fun, you know, thinking about all these books and just remembering how I felt while reading them all over again. I hope you had fun as well, and just let me know what are your answers, which books were your favorite, which characters were your crushes. Just let me know so that we can discuss and I can get more recs from whatever you have read so far as well. And well, see you again in the next video. Bye!